Slideshow by Alan Graham. The main lights go down and the projector whirs into life. Are you ready? My partner asks. Oh, yes, I grin excitedly, and a button clicks on the laptop. Suddenly, the white bedsheet that my partner has hung up as an improvised screen is filled with the first slide of a PowerPoint presentation. In big, bold, red letters it reads, St. Valentine's, a day for love. There's another quiet mouse click and a larger question mark, and a large question mark suddenly appears at the very end of that sentence. I woo sarcastically as the presentation swiftly moves on to the next slide. Little is known about the actual St. Valentine. My sweetheart reads the slide's text as it appears in bullet points in front of me. She's donned her glasses and is clearly using her office voice. Indeed, it is thought by some scholars that the person himself is an invention. The most likely candidate for the real-life Valentine was a rather unremarkable bishop in the city of Terni in Italy. It seems that the one interesting thing that he ever did was to get tortured and martyred by the Roman state on February the 14th. She turns to me. Any questions? None at this stage, I smile back, holding up my pen. I feel this displays the right amount of attentiveness, as if I'm taking notes. Right then, I'll move on. My love continues, pressing a button on her laptop. A giant image of Lenin fills the screen, no doubt rousing an angry gang of Slavs. Modern-day Leninist thinking dismisses romantic love as an instrument of capitalist domination, giving workers hopes and dreams of a fulfilled life within the confines of an exploitative and oppressive regime. It would be true, probably, that most folk who know me would not describe me as the sort of person who would be listening to a modernist, communist critique of love on St. Valentine's Day. The path that got me into this spot started just over 3 years ago, when we had just begun dating. A Valentine's Day early in a relationship is a hideous minefield, one to be negotiated with diplomacy and care. A balance needs to be struck between two very different romantic messages. On the one hand, you'll want to make a sweet demonstration that you do kind of like this person a bit. However, you do not want to give any signal that suggests you might be some weird obsessive whose insides are furiously boiling with a desperate desire for immediate wedlock. For a fortnight, I wrestled with this issue before finally deciding on a small but thoughtful gift to give. I planned the relaxed way I would give her the gift. I even wrote a few lines of slightly deprecating comments about it, just in case it was all appearing a bit too serious. She forgot it even was St. Valentine's Day. Say what now? She gasped as I surprised her with the gift, her face a perfect mixture of mild shock and slight horror. Happy Valentine's Day! I laughed awkwardly, my present still held out towards her. Is that still a thing? She added incredulously. For smart women like us? Really? The third slide was mainly a set of charts and figures illustrating quite how much money was involved. It is estimated that the United Kingdom spends £976 million on Valentine's gifts, meals, flowers, and day trips. To put this into perspective, this money could be used to train 13,000 nurses or build 1.5 brand new hospitals. The biggest spenders tend to be young men with existing debt problems. For our second Valentine's Day, I opted for irony. I ordered a very large teddy bear with "I love you" emblazoned on its chest to be delivered to her place of work. She wasn't amused, especially when her parents and patients kept reminding her how lucky she was to have someone so thoughtful in her life. She stopped off at a petrol station on the way home and got me a card, which she forgot to write anything in, and some flowers, which I'm allergic to. You're not trying, I protested. I literally do not understand this whole stupid day, she snapped back. What is there to understand? If you've any questions, you can just ask me. I picked up the teddy bear. Better than that, you can ask Sir Cuddles. Can't she, Sir Cuddles? I made the teddy bear nod excitedly. Oh, just give it a fucking rest, she replied, sighing wearily. I covered Sir Cuddles' ears. On a quiet morning, on February the 14th, 1929, slide 4 began, while good folk were going about their business in the Lincoln Park neighbourhood of Chicago, the peace was rudely disturbed by the violent gun murder of 7 members of the North Side Gang, shot under the direct orders of Al Capone. There then follows a succession of photos from the crime scene, each click of the mouse revealing a grislier image than the one before. I put my hand up at this point. Is this strictly relevant? Hold on a second. She is still clicking her mouse, and suddenly there's an audio recording of a scream. The slide goes red, and the St. Valentine's Day Massacre bleeds into the middle of the screen. My beloved looks back at me with a smug grin that seems to say, I think I answered that one, thank you very much. Almost exactly a year earlier, my sweetheart flashed me a wide, beaming smile as she sipped a cocktail on the balcony of our hotel. Best idea ever, she laughed, gazing out at the sun setting over the Caribbean Sea. Oh, can you imagine how cold it is back home right now? Better than that, I replied. I can recreate it for you. I snuck back into our hotel room and came out with a present. It was a small custom-made snow globe containing a photo. We'd only recently decided to move in together, and doing so during the deepest depths of Christmas had been stressful but brilliant. The photo in the snow globe showed the two of us, grinning in Santa hats, standing in front of an open door at our beautiful new place. My partner shook the globe and stared at the picture through the falling fake snow. It's just perfect, she whispered, wiping one eye. Happy Valentine's Day, darling, I laughed, placing my arm around her. Oh, dear God, she replied in mock exasperation. Well, not entirely mock. About 60% mock and at 40% exasperation. Not this! Again? You love it, really? I began teasing. And you just admitted to me that the gift's perfect. Yeah, the gift is. This holiday is. Why do you have to drag it down with references to some stupid day? It wasn't so stupid, I retorted, when we agreed that we should go on this Valentine's escape. Yeah, an escape from Valentine's. That's what I thought this was, just us together. A glorious beach, an enormous double bed, and as few reminders of a drab English February as possible. There was an awkward pause. Right. I'm not going to let it spoil this holiday, but next year, I swear, before the miserable 14th comes round again, I am going to prove to you that this whole thing is an undeniable, fraudulent, expensive waste of time, and you will beg me, yeah? Beg me to forgive you for all these years of nonsense. prove it. I laughed. How on earth do you expect to do that? Meet Dan, my sweetheart continues. She's clicked through to the next slide, and on it is a photo of a smiling young man with glasses on. It's clearly been taken from a set of stock images where it's probably found under some sort of generic title such as hipster librarian. Dan is intelligent and independent. He's a vegetarian, a feminist, and hates the Daily Mail. In other words, we like Dan. I nod vigorously at this, good old Dan. But, oh no, Dan is sad. There's another click, and the generic photo on the slide is replaced with a new one. It's the same stock model, but now he's all miserable. Why is Dan sad? Well, Dan is single, and it's Valentine's Day. And due to societal pressures, today is the day that Dan feels more alone than ever. Research has shown that more single people under the age of 40 call the Samaritans on February the 14th than any other day of the year. Single men in particular are particularly vulnerable to urine. I interrupt. My sweetheart peers over her glasses at me. Really? She sounds genuinely surprised. Look, I know Valentine's Day is a load of bullshit, and I know it was invented by big evil corporations and everything like that. I don't mean to be fucking annoying when I do something about it. It's just that I love you, and sometimes I like having an excuse to do something that shows that. Darling, my partner interjects. It's not that. I mean, really, as in already. She looks down at her notes. I mean, I've barely started. I have at least 67 more slides to go through before we're done here, and there's loads more graphs and facts and animations to come. There's even going to be an interactive quiz with Sir Cuddles. I've worked on this for weeks to get this ready for today. She continues, and I begin to suspect she's trying to suppress a grin. I've done all this for you, my dearest, on your Valentine's Day, your most wretched of miserable Valentine's Days. So if this day means anything to you, you are going to sit there, watch, make your occasional sarcastic remarks, and we are going to go through every single one of these slides together before I am possibly going to allow you to come to any sort of conclusion. I tentatively raise my hand. If this is going to take a while, can I go and get a Valentine's cake I made for us to eat while you continue? She pauses for a few seconds. Oh, all right then, she sighs. Honestly, I fucking spoil you.